No one could have imagined that behind Hayley's innocent face and sweet smile, there was a dark plot that could cause a huge financial empire to collapse. When greed exceeds the limit. When hatred is deeply ingrained in the mind, people can do the most terrible things to achieve their goals. And this is the story of a woman who was willing to hire a surrogate mother not to have a child, but to use the child as a weapon to destroy the life of one of the richest men in the country, Bill. A sophisticated, heartless, and extremely cruel plan was launched, in which every detail was calculated down to the smallest step so that no one could escape. Hayley had long hidden her ambition to seize all of Bill's huge assets. She is not only intelligent but also extremely ruthless, always willing to sacrifice everything, including morality and dignity, to achieve the ultimate goal. Ever since entering Bill's life, Hayley has been silently calculating every step, every move, like a survival game in which she always wants to be the only winner. Knowing that Bill is not easily fooled by conventional tricks, Hayley decided to create the most cruel and sophisticated plan ever. Instead of trying to seduce or marry Bill, she chose a more evil path, creating a fake heir with Bill's bloodline by hiring a woman to be a surrogate mother. But this is not a normal surrogacy deal. Hayley is not looking for love or family ties. She just needs a child as a tool, a means to legitimize her inheritance rights, and thereby put an end to the barriers that Bill has built. She began approaching underground agencies that specialized in providing women who agreed to be surrogates for money, especially those who were desperate, easy to manipulate, and would keep silent forever if necessary. After weeks of careful selection, Hayley found a woman named Lara, young, easy to control, and willing to sign any papers, as long as she got enough money to escape her current miserable life. Hayley did not explain the whole plan to Lara, only fabricating the story that this was a legal and completely consented operation. But behind the fake smile, Hayley secretly stole a sample of Bill's DNA from an old toothbrush, then took the sample to an unlicensed lab to create an artificial embryo with Bill's genes. With her underground connections and large bribes, she easily bypassed biosafety checks and proceeded to implant the embryo into Lara's body. Meanwhile, Bill remains oblivious to the sick plan being hatched behind his back. He continues to live a busy and powerful life, running big deals, signing million-dollar contracts, and thinking he is in control. But what he cannot control is the greed and revenge that grows in Hayley's mind every day. Every time she sees Bill happy with his family or confident in his financial security, Hayley becomes more determined to make him fall completely, with no way back. When Lara becomes pregnant, Hayley has a detailed plan in place to prepare for the moment of action. She hired a private lawyer, an expert in property and inheritance disputes, and forged a series of documents to prove that the child in Lara's womb was Bill's legitimate child. Hayley also secretly recorded Lara's visit to the clinic, creating clips to prove the voluntariness of both sides, in case of any suspicious situations. As the days passed, Lara gradually felt that something was wrong in her relationship with Hayley. But every time she intended to ask directly, Hayley quickly threatened her by mentioning the advance payments, the contracts she had signed, and the severe legal consequences if she dared to break the agreement. Lara, in a weak position, had no choice but to continue to keep quiet and get pregnant as Hayley requested. Meanwhile, Hayley began to hint to the media that Bill had an illegitimate child that he was trying to hide to save face. This news caused a wave of suspicion in the business world, causing many of Bill's business partners to panic. Although Bill denied it and requested an investigation, all the evidence cleverly pointed to him, causing him to gradually lose control in public. When Lara gave birth, Hayley immediately took the child for a DNA test using fake documents and announced the results confirming that the child was indeed Bill's biological child. The video recording of Lara signing the surrogacy agreement and the fake birth certificate was presented to the court by Hayley as undeniable evidence. She even held a grand press conference, declaring that she was claiming the child's legitimate property rights from the biological father, Bill. The event shocked public opinion. The media reported it, and Bill was put in an unprecedented difficult position. His lawyers began to doubt the legitimacy of the case. But so much evidence had been meticulously prepared that it became extremely difficult to refute. When the property dispute trial began, Hayley acted as the child's sole guardian. She cried in court, telling about the touching journey she had gone through to protect her child's rights, while in fact she was playing a perfect role to fool everyone. Bill, despite his anger, still could not provide any concrete evidence to refute, and his lawyer was forced to admit that if the test results were true, then by law, the child had the right to inherit the property. Every asset, every share, every real estate in Bill's system began to be reviewed for redistribution. Meanwhile, Hayley had secretly taken Laura abroad, cut off all contact and left her enough money to disappear forever, never to be able to return to testify. When everything was almost in her hands, Hayley began to take over more of Bill's close associates. She bribed some members of the board of directors, secretly collected shares and rebuilt the entire financial structure under the child's name, which was actually under her absolute control. She not only seized the assets, but also pushed Bill into a state of losing prestige, losing his position and gradually being isolated in the world he once held in his hands. Bill's downfall did not come from a big mistake, but from the person he once considered the closest. And in the dark corner of that victory, Hayley smiled coldly, knowing that she had succeeded, not only in seizing the assets, but also completely destroying the life of the man who once despised her. Hayley's plot was temporarily successful, but would the truth be buried forever? Would Bill accept defeat or would he rise up to expose everything? What will happen to the child, the truth about Laura, and what will happen to Hayley? It's only just begun. And the shocks that lie ahead are much greater. Don't miss any of the developments and follow and subscribe to the channel now so you don't miss the next shocking secrets in Beyond the Gates.